Today I'm going to be doing a review video. This is part of my review video series. I've been reviewing all of my equipment and all of my trucks, and I'll most likely be putting this tractor on the playlist as well if you guys are interested in any other review videos. So this is my 2022 M5-091. It's a 91 horse tractor. It weighs about 12,000 pounds. Probably maybe 13,000. Right now I just have a narrow 1-yard bucket for basically loading pickup trucks at my yard. So we really bought this tractor for only one reason, and that was to move and potentially plow snow. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is my absolute least favorite piece of equipment that I have, and it's not really even that close. I mean, I'm not a fan of my track skid steer really either, but I would say this takes the crown. So we'll start this video with the things that I actually like about this tractor. Number one is it looks awesome. So I plan on putting some LED lights on it, and I plan on tinting the whole entire tractor so it'll look even better. But I honestly think this is the second best looking thing that I got, obviously right behind the loader. So it looks very attractive. That's number one. The second thing that I like is I like the cab. It's okay. I mean, it's not as good as my loader. You can't get a decent sized person in the buddy seat over there. We just put this air ride seat on, so hopefully that helps the shock for bumps and stuff a little bit better. I doubt it, but everything's really easy to figure out. Right there, very spacious with your feet. So the cab's pretty good. Has the sunroof there. You can pull back when you're loading high. Bluetooth radio. None of my stuff has Bluetooth. This is the only thing that has Bluetooth radio, so that is definitely a huge plus for this thing, because I can't stand listening to the radio. The next thing that I like is, I mean, the tires are pretty good. I probably should get some snow tires instead, but I do like the tires. Pretty good, especially the back ones. These are filled, the front ones are not. I struggled to turn when plowing with these, but then again, these aren't filled, or obviously I wasn't using chains, so I could probably fix that if I wanted to. Next thing that I like about it is we got this Land Pride quick attach system here. My girlfriend has one just like it for her John Deere or whatever, and should make hooking up to things back here very easy and quick. The next thing that I like about it, and really the only thing that I actually like using, is how hard it pushes. So this does push very hard, pushes snowbanks back really good. Obviously when you're digging into a pile, it's extremely easy. Once you get used to the transmission, right where to put it in the low end, and it's very torquey. So comparing to my two regular skid steers, it out pushes them hands down without a doubt. Comparing it to my tire teleskid, it's about even. I know when I'm in the teleskid, I'm like, wow, this thing pushes better than the Kubota. And then when I'm in the Kubota, I'm like, wow, this thing pushes better than the teleskid. So I'd say it's just about even as far as pushing power, you know, just purely pushing snowbanks back. This weighs more, yes, but the boom is where the teleskid has the advantage. The boom's really powerful and literally can just blow everything back, while this, the tires will just kind of spin when you get too much. But overall, I mean, it's got about the same pushing power as a tire teleskid. Another thing really quick that I kind of forgot to mention is the payload on this loader. So it's about as strong as a skid steer. Basically, I haven't tried moving, you know, the big Keystone 4,000 pound pallets yet, but I can just tell by lifting some of our bigger pushers and other things, yard of gravel, etc., that it's roughly the same as a skid steer. You know, I think our track one seems like it lifts the most, but you know, it's comparable. Let's say 4,000 pounds. So those are the three main things that I like about this tractor, and that's honestly really about it. So now on to the things that I don't like about this tractor. Number one being this quick attach system here. This thing sucks. Obviously you can tell it's already bent from us trying to get them in and undone. So you have to get out of your cab. I'm used to just staying in my cab, my loaders and skid steers, and doing it all with a push of a button. With this, it's a nightmare. So a lot of times you'll have these up and those pins will drop, and you won't be able to get your bucket on, so you have to constantly get out, get in, get out, get in, trying to get it perfectly so it fits in. It's just an extreme waste of time, extremely slow, and overall those things just suck. You gotta constantly keep them greased good, because if you don't have them greased good, they won't work for shit. So that's one thing I hate. The next thing I hate is obviously DEF. It is above 74 horse, so you have to worry about DEF problems and constantly filling it all the time. We did have one issue this winter where we couldn't use it for an entire morning because the DEF system was acting up. It was throwing codes, wouldn't let us move, all that stuff. So definitely that whole DEF system there ain't something that I like about it. Another thing that I'm not sold on, I mean, I like it, I'm good with it, but my guys absolutely hate it, is the damn transmission in this. So I basically have 6 speeds in low and 6 speeds in high. I would much rather have this than a hydrostatic, number one. Number two, what I hate about this is that you can't change from your low end to your high end on the fly. You actually have to stop the machine, press the clutch in, fight with this thing, because that's not a very good system at all. You have to be like either rolling or exactly in the right position with your clutch, or this thing won't shift in. It shifts in extremely hard, and it just overall is slow, and it sucks. So with me, when we're moving a lot of snow, I want to have the ability to dig into the snow pile very slow with a lot of power, and then immediately drive down the road or drive far away in a very high speed. So when you're doing those two things all the time throughout the day, you have to worry about this. It ain't good for moving snow. So, and obviously when you have it in 6 in your low end, it's just way too slow to actually drive down the road to our dump site. So with our skid steers, it's just the press of a button, and you can switch from your high end to low end. If they had a button maybe instead of this entire thing and using your clutch and all that stuff, if they had a button that could allow you to switch from your low to high end, that would be awesome, and it would fix the transmission and make this transmission awesome to use. The M6, I do believe, comes with that package. This M5 sadly does not. The problem with this transmission is doing perfection at work. It's really good pushing, and I love the transmission for, like, you know, pushing power. But as far as perfection work, especially when this is here trying to load pickup trucks, it's such a nightmare. Trying to deal with your friction point, your clutch just right, to, you know, not jerk around when you're by pickup trucks loading, because, you know, that's, you know, perfectionist type work, trying to get this monster bucket into a small pickup truck with mulch or loam or whatever. And obviously people don't want you to spill it and all that stuff. And, you know, it's just, this is not for that at all. This is just, on our skid steers, we can put it into a turtle mode, and it just creeps up to the truck and just does it absolutely perfectly. And the visibility is so good in the skid steers that you can see the edge of your bucket, make sure you're not getting too close to a truck. This is just a shit show to load people up with. I mean, I haven't loaded my trucks with it yet, but it's just too slow for that. The skid steer just turns on a dime. You can grab a pile of loam, turn right around, fill a truck, and it's just quick. Obviously the loader is 3 times size bucket, so that's way better too. Also, I was kind of hoping it would do 24 miles an hour. This thing only does 18. I'm pretty sure that math's right. I mean, it says it's in kilometers, so it says 30 kilometers, so obviously I think that's like 18 miles an hour, but it'd be nice if it could go a little bit faster. I know the loader does like 25, but definitely not uphill. But this thing seems like the inclines don't really mess with the speed too much, which is kind of good. I know my loader, when I go uphill, it's like 11 miles an hour. And then when I'm on flat ground, it's like 22 to 25. This thing's just like a straight 18. So I do wish it was faster. Another thing I don't like is that there's no wheel wells or wheel wells you can really get. We're still looking into it, but we 100% need wheel wells for these, because all the salt, all the sand just flies up into the windshield and flies all through your hydraulic lines. I don't know why they put it there, but so it's just, you know, kind of a nightmare as far as that. So wheel wells would be really nice. I believe in Canada you can get them. I'm not 100% sure, but if anyone knows where to get them, maybe leave a link down below so you can grab some. It'd be much appreciated. Dealing with this thing right here is just you know, that's another thing that I hate about this transmission too. So on my loader, right on my loader stick, I have the option from forward, neutral, and reverse. So my hand never leaves my loader, my hand never leaves my wheel, and I'm constantly either moving snow or plowing with the push of a button. This, I have to get my hand off the steering wheel, play with this stupid thing, and it's just, you know, it's what it, and I'm doing this, you know, all night long. So when I'm saying these little tiny things like this, which don't sound like a lot to you, it's a really big deal when you're moving snow all night long, and you have the option between this or a simple skid steer loader, which is everything is on the fly. The next, and probably the biggest or the most frustrating thing about this, is definitely the way it rides. So no, we did not have this air ride seat in the winter, but I don't think it's going to help at all. So on my skid steers and on my loader, I have what I call a road function. So you hit a button and that makes your loader take all the shocks from bumps. So instead of, you know, hitting a bump and being stiff and flying all over the cab, the JCBs, the loader, will take the brunt of the force and make for a nice smooth ride, especially when you're driving fast, moving snow, all that other stuff. This does not have that option, which I cannot stand, because when we're moving snow all night long, and every time I hit a pothole when I'm going fast down the road with a bunch of snow, I get thrashed around this cab like you would not believe. I have to go, you know, extremely slow, slow enough that the skid steer is passing me. Because this thing is just such a nightmare to ride in when you're moving around. It's just too stiff. Every time you hit a bump, you're thrown all over the place. And when you're doing this, you know, when you're in this machine all day or all night long, it gives you a headache, and it's borderline like concussion. That's how rough it rides. So if this thing had a road speed or road function that I could actually have the loader take the shock from all of the potholes and stuff, that would be great too. Because of course my guys don't want to use this in the winter because they hate it. So I get stuck with it, and it's just such a nightmare to drive around with a fully loaded bucket, and I'm just thrashing all over the place. I have a killer headache when I'm usually done at night, and it's just kind of a nightmare. Obviously, I don't think this buddy seat's any good. I mean, my girlfriend weighs like 100 pounds, and she can really barely fit in here. So the only option really is if you have a kid. A kid can probably get in here, but also like the loader is just like way too high too. I know I'm being picky here, but it definitely is. On my loader and my skid steers, it's like right down here, and it's really nice because you can leave your arm on the armrest. This is like up here, and you know, I'm just not a fan of it really at all. Another thing that I hate about this is obviously the visibility is horrible. So it's a tractor. You can't have good visibility for your edge in a tractor. But with a skid steer, you can see exactly what you're digging into. If you're digging too low, if you're digging too high, you can adjust it accordingly and do a perfect job with the skid steer. This, on the other hand, is a shit show. You have to tilt your bucket up so you can actually see your blade and then go, which sucks because you can't hold anything in your bucket while you're doing that. Obviously with a skid steer, you can fill up your bucket while you're doing that and still see this thing. Not so much. So overall, just a recap, you know, I really am not a fan of this tractor at all. You know, maybe I get a different parking lot and I can build this thing just to plow, and it'll be, you know, worth me having. But as far as it goes right now, you know, I'm just not a fan of it. I'd much rather have a track tail skid. I'd much rather have maybe a 20,000 pound loader. This thing doesn't really fit what I do in either season. I thought it would, but it really doesn't. You know, maybe if we can, you know, tweak some things, whether it's the tires and maybe get a good plow setup for this, it can do a lot of good in the winter months. But as far as the summer months, you know, the tires are just too narrow. They'll destroy grounds, which we do a lot of landscaping, a lot of mulch, a lot of loam. You know, there's not really a need for this thing. You know, if you were a farmer, small-time farmer, hobby farmer, you know, you had some cows, something like that, doing some haying on the side, you know, this would be an awesome tractor. I know a guy who has the exact same thing, and he loves it, and that's exactly what he does, and that's more the purpose for this. Not really moving snow or being in a landscape yard. So I bought this thinking that Kubota was absolutely bulletproof. I have JCB, and it seems like stuff breaks all the time, but the service is just awesome. You know, they have enough parts to build skid steers at the place that we get serviced, and they come like the next day and just fix everything. Like it's done. There's no stress about it. This, holy shit. So we've had def issues. It wouldn't fucking run one morning, and we were fighting with it for like 2 hours to get it to run. So this whole entire fucking unit apparently has to be replaced. So every time we use this machine, it leaks hydraulic oil, and sometimes it dumps hydraulic oil. My dad was moving snow at a storage unit facility and literally like destroyed the pavement. 15 gallons worth of freaking hydraulic oil. So this whole, I don't know what exactly we're getting, and like I said, I'm not a mechanic or anything, is a 6-month wait. You heard that right. 6 months to get this thing fixed so we can actually use it without it dumping hydraulic oil everywhere. If this was a JCB, it would be fixed tomorrow. Probably gonna piss a lot of Kubota people off, you know, but buy your dealer, you know, buy your service. Don't buy the name. Just because this name is bulletproof and reliable doesn't mean it actually is. Everything breaks. Cat, Komatsu, Kubota, JCB. Buy a dealer, buy a service department that's gonna be able to get the parts fast and do the work quickly. Because if you buy one that does neither of those things, you're gonna wait 6 months for a part that you need without leaking hydraulic oil all over the place. So that's just my thoughts on it. Thanks you guys for watching. If you guys disagree with me, agree with me, maybe leave some comments down below. I appreciate it, even if it's negative feedback. I still appreciate it, and I'd like to hear your opinions. Thanks a lot.